Hello, it is Monday and it is the 3rd of November, and at the time of me filming this, sorry, Maggie's just having a moment over here. At the time of me filming this, I am 7 weeks and 4 days pregnant. It's been very difficult to just go about life and vlog whilst all of these kind of changes are taking place without giving a lot away and kind of sharing what I'm comfortable with sharing at that point. I'm already naturally behind with my editing because I didn't want to edit on holiday. I wanted to enjoy that, but I figure that this vlog will come out, or I will make sure that I post it once I am 12 weeks and we are actively telling people and sharing publicly that I am pregnant and we are having a baby. However, I would have thought that some people would have probably picked up on it. I did have a comment on one of my vlogs saying that I was glowing and that I'm definitely pregnant. I was at that point, but only by about 4 days. So I got pregnant that week. I don't know when the glowing is supposed to start, because actually the last few weeks have been a bit rough. There's a lot of ups and downs, and I have been tracking all of my symptoms and things like that, so that at a point like now where I feel like I can share it and talk about it and some of the changes that I've made, I now feel like I can openly talk about it in vlogs and it become a thing, because it is going to be unavoidable. There's a lot of changes that I'm going to be making. I will be talking about it a lot because it is a huge part of my life. However, this is not going to become like a baby channel. This is going to be still fitness and lifestyle, but how I fit that around being a mum, I guess, which may be of interest to you, may not be of interest to you, but it's going to be interesting. So I hope you stick around. Maybe that is not a bit of you and you're not interested, and that is absolutely fine, but I thought I would talk through some of the things that have happened thus far, because the symptoms have been wild and they were in from the get-go. I suspected I was pregnant very, very early on. I've been writing a list with dates on how I've been feeling, what's been going on from the moment I suspected I was pregnant, which was the 27th of September, which was 4 days post-conception, to present day. So 27th and the 28th of September was when I was in Wolverhampton and I had the worst constipation of my life. Like, I know that the gut issues that I've been having have been very intense and have been taking over, and there's been a lot of that. However, this felt different and I was red hot, like even to touch, I was red hot. The 30th of September was actually when we travelled to the airport for our holiday. Absolutely starving, like there was nothing that could have filled me that morning. I was absolutely starving, and when I first suspected I was pregnant at that back end of September on the 27th, 28th, I did a bit of research as to what I could be looking out for, because I couldn't test for another week, 10 days without risking a kind of like a false negative. So I was looking out for things, and one of the things that I was looking out for was implantation cramping. So implantation cramping is exactly what it says on the tin. It is the cramp or pain that you might feel when the embryo implants in your wombs, and I felt it on the way to the airport. And I was trying not to give anything away to Andy, because I really wanted, even though he kind of obviously knew that we were trying, I really wanted to surprise him. And that is at the point where I was like, I'm absolutely positive that I am pregnant. However, until I have a positive test, I'm going to treat this holiday as though I'm not, because how many people do you know that have been on holiday or had Christmas or something like that where they've been drinking heavily, living life normally over like a holiday or celebration, and then they found out they were pregnant, panicked, and actually everything was fine? That's the mentality I had going into the holiday. So I was like, there's no way I'm not going to enjoy it. If I find out I'm pregnant at some point afterwards, I'll find out. I had continuously, since that 27th of September, had minor strains on my Aura ring, and I could not shift it. It didn't matter how much I rested, it didn't matter how much I slept or chilled or got to bed early in between that time. I had minor strains constantly on my Aura ring, and my HRV balance was up constantly. There was no bringing that down, even after restful sleep. It was just, my recovery was poor throughout. So I had more cramping, and I've noted that I was starving between the 1st and the 5th of October. I'd done a test on the 1st when I got to Dominican Republic, and it was negative. Far too early for me to test positive. I've written down planned test again on 7th of October. So throughout that week, I continued with the ridiculous strain, poor readiness on my Aura ring. But there was a part of me that thought maybe that is just because I'm in a different country, like there's so much more humidity, I'm constantly hot. But I was going to bed very early. I was constantly tired by 7 p.m. Constantly tired, and it was a different kind of tired. It was like I could have fallen asleep standing up tired. And again, I was like, oh, could be the heat, could be, you know, drinking around the pool. It was not. I had horrific bloating with trace dairy. As you know, if you've watched the holiday vlog, I really tried very, very hard to eliminate dairy whilst I was there, which I'm still doing to try and help my gut along. The bloating was just phenomenal. Like, it was something else, and there was nothing that I was doing that was triggering that. I've written down on the 2nd, so fucking tired by 7 p.m. and hot. On the 5th, I've written down that my boobs are rock solid. My boobs on the 5th, I even remember looking at them, and this has stuck around. On the 5th of October, my boobs weren't massive, but they were solid, like they were hard, and my nipples were extremely sensitive. Not in a sexy way, in a don't you fucking touch these way. And I've written that was really hot again. On the 7th of October, I remember this day distinctly. On the 7th of October, we went on the catamaran trip, and there was a lady that was really drunk on the catamaran that was trying to get me up to dance all the time. And I was getting up to dance, and I was so breathless, and like, I'm still doing 75 minutes cardio a week. No, I'm not as fit as I was during prep, but I'm doing 75 minutes of cardio a week. I shouldn't have been that breathless, and I was like blowing a gasket. And it was at that point which I thought, I'm gonna do a test. There was a separate toilet to the shower, so Andy was in the shower, and I sat and did a test, and it lit up straight away as positive. And it's really bizarre because every time you see like videos of someone taking a pregnancy test and it's positive, they're obviously ecstatically happy, but they're like or crying. I felt absolutely none of that. I just went, obviously. I knew so early that I just felt so different. I told Andy, and we were just in complete shock that night. Like, we did not know what to do with ourselves. We went to dinner, we sat opposite each other and just kept bursting out laughing. Like, you know, that awkward laughter when people are just like delirious. It was that. I had been struggling with my gut issues to have any pressure on my stomach whatsoever leading up to then, so could have been that. Not really sure. There's far too many variables going on at the moment. I've written down that on the 9th of October, my gut motility slowed down, which is probably in timing with progesterone surges that I was experiencing with just general fetal development. Gut motility does slow down during pregnancy, especially early days. On the 10th of October, we arrived home and I did a Clear Blue digital test, which told me that I was 1 to 2 weeks. That is 1 to 2 weeks from conception. So actually, by that point, I was 4 weeks pregnant. This is something that has confused the shit out of me since I found out, because on paper, because of my last period being on the 6th of September, the gestational age of the baby on paper is a week or 2 older than it actually is, because I have longer cycles. So whenever I've been putting information into an app or speaking to someone about it and trying to work out how far along I actually am using medical terms, it's never quite right. However, I am spot on with where I thought I was based on the scan that I had yesterday. So we'll come back to that. Headaches and heartburn daily from the 13th. I did have daily headaches that week. I came home from holiday with a horrendous illness. Something that I am slightly concerned about and will bring up with my midwife this week at my booking appointment is that I have picked up everything, every illness going. I came home from holiday with COVID, I'm sure. I am not sure whether this was morning sickness related or not. It seems weird that I would have such horrendous diarrhea with it as well. But the diarrhea and vomiting that I had last Monday, it has not been great, and I don't think I've been that ill in about 5 years in terms of like sickness bugs and stuff like that. I'm not a buggy gal. I don't pick things up like that. That is something that I'll be raising. On the 14th of October, I've written down absolutely boiling and clit is so painful. Not throbbing in an aroused way, but in a sharp, painful way, like it is sore to touch. That was one I wasn't expecting. And I did look into this, and apparently it's to do with all of the blood going to your vagina and just in that general region. I was swollen, it hurt to walk. I was like, this symptom can get in the bin, and thankfully it did. We've got constipation, indigestion. 21st of October, I've written symptoms of karma other than tiredness, and I found myself panicking that I'm no longer pregnant, so bought some more tests today. Whilst I was in the queue, a lady behind me was very close to me and coughing, but also wearing a face mask, which made me anxious. And that is something that I'm very aware of, how close people are to me when they seem to be ill, which is something that I think has lasted since COVID anyway, but is something that I have found since being pregnant. Hello? No, you're okay, I'm just vlogging. Just catching the vlog up on all of the symptoms that I've had. Obviously this will go out once I'm 12 weeks, but are there any that have surprised you or that you've been like, whoa?
The sniff-induced vomiting was wild.
Oh, come on in. I haven't got to that point yet. Okay. Hey, Dad.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, it was because you felt nauseous.
These are another one.
Oh God, yeah, I can't put my feet up because my flippers smell. I do have big feet.
Yeah.
My slippers smell.
But they're not smelly. By smelly feet, you don't have smelly feet.
You've never complained about them until...
No, but your slippers, I can smell them a mile away. Like a little slipper shot. I had actually just got to the point where I said that last Monday, I've been picking everything up like illness-wise, but last Monday I had diarrhea and vomiting to the point where I was like, this must be a bug. However, the vomiting was induced by smelling stuff.
Yeah.
Your mum and dad came over to drop my birthday present off. You all had a sausage sandwich, and I was like, but it's not a bit of me. Took myself upstairs. But the week before, all I wanted to do was eat sausage.
Yeah.
And then you made your usual meal. And Andy's like me, creatures of habit. He has the same meal every night.
That makes me sound like a weirdo. I I batch cook my
Yeah.
lunches for the week.
We're batch cookers.
And it's largely the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's not a novel smell for you.
No.
But I opened this middle door after cooking it, the smell wafted in, and you literally had to put your hand over your mouth and run upstairs.
Yeah, and vom.
And it was a proper vom.
Yeah.
Like, not to be crude to your followers, but it wasn't
We
like,
talk about shit and all sorts.
it wasn't like dry retching, it was Team America.
Yeah.
It was bah.
Yeah. Smells in general, your slippers, what other smells has there been? I did go off meat. I'll get on to how I've been dealing with food in a little bit, but there was a couple of days where I just couldn't hack my meals. Couldn't hack meat. I think for one day I ate mini cheddars, pineapple, mango, and buttered bagels.
Yeah, there was
And that was a miracle. But I felt really good that I'd managed to get that much food down me.
there was no strong smells.
No,
No.
it was bad. What did you think to the scan yesterday?
It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you expecting? Because
But
I
this
just
is-
kind of sprung that on you that we're going to go and do this, and
So I guess in my naivety, I thought even at this early stage it'd be more distinctive, whereas it was just
an amoeba.
But yeah, but at the same time it wasn't, because you could see the flash. Sorry, but at the same time it wasn't, because you could see the heart like flashing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you were like, oh, that is very clearly
a heart.
a baby.
Yeah.
That is a baby. Like, it's just a blob, but the weird thing was the most defined feature about it was this beating heart.
Yeah.
So it was great, but I was just like, that's mad. It's a kidney bean with a really fast beating heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did she say? That they don't do scans, well, certainly the private clinic that we went to don't do scans with sound, so you can hear the heartbeat until you're 16 weeks, because you're still, as healthy as your pregnancy might be and how viable it might be, it's still a very fragile state. And to the way that ultrasounds work, they would
Then the power up, which
Yeah.
increases the wavelength,
Correct.
which, because you're still super fragile,
Yeah.
it's dangerous it can be dangerous to the child.
yeah, and they don't want to risk
They
that,
just don't
obviously.
they just don't roll the dice on it. Apparently some clinics do,
Yeah,
but they choose not to.
yeah, happy with that. We could see it, that was enough for
I was
us.
going to say, the noise of it was irrelevant largely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she said that everything is looking really, really good, didn't she?
Yes.
Yeah.
You told them the statistics?
No, actually, I haven't. So the scan that we had yesterday, the sonographer was so happy and satisfied with how everything was looking that my risks of miscarriage have gone from 25 to 30% in that first 12 weeks is a general statistic for all pregnancies, and mine's gone down to 5% based on how good everything looked yesterday.
I think she actually used the words perfect uterus.
Yeah, she did, which, I don't know.
Take it.
I'll take it. I have been told at smear test that I've got a nice cervix, so I know. I bet they say that to all the girls. Make them feel nice.
I can feel pretty.
Yeah, I feel pretty. Love you. What are you most excited for, quickly, before you go?
What am I, in terms of what?
All of it.
Oh, having a little baby.
Yeah.
What do you mean, this 9-month period?
Yeah,
It's getting even bigger.
great.
I'm joking. No, in this 9-month period, the bit I am most looking forward to, I think it'll be the gender reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want, boy or girl?
Do not mind. Do not mind either way. I'm telling myself not to want a certain one, because I hate the idea of when we open our eyes and the lights are a different colour.
Of being disappointed.
Or even a hint of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's because it's how ridiculous. Or you're
Yeah.
disappointed you got a girl instead of a boy, or vice versa.
Yeah.
It just makes no sense.
I've said to myself that when I start thinking about it, I do actively stop myself, because, like you,
It's daft.
I don't want to, as long as they're healthy and happy in there,
Yeah.
realistically, don't care.
No, I don't want to romanticize either what having a specific sex baby will be than the other,
No,
because
because they both bring loads of fun.
loads of joy and happiness.
Goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye.
Back to the anxiety. It's a thing that I was kind of prepared for, because I had spoken to my best friends about that. Best friend Laura has just had a baby and she has experienced all of these things. It surprised me how anxious I did feel about just everything. So from that lady standing very close to me coughing, to the fact that as soon as my symptoms disappeared, I panicked that I was no longer pregnant, when actually I was probably just having a good day. Like, you don't think of it as, oh, I'm having a good day with no symptoms. You think, shit. The pragmatic, you know, just stay quite neutral person in me at this point is, you know, better luck next time. That's how I was feeling. We had told a few of our best friends by this point.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You're joking me. Oh my God. You're joking me. Stop it. You're joking. I've never cried. Oh my God, I can't. Have you just found out? Oh, goosebumps.
I found out on Wednesday.
Oh my God, how could you tell me? Oh my God. Fuck, you're pregnant. Oh my God, me and Aaron were literally talking about really like manifesting a baby for you when I saw him. I can't believe that. Wait, did I just see him on Wednesday? No, it's on Friday. Oh my God, I can't believe you're pregnant. Shut the fuck up.
Because the statistics that I've just run through there, I get it. I get people hanging on till 12 weeks. I also, having been in this now for a few weeks and knowing about it, and it be me being, what, 7.5 weeks now, there's still 4 more weeks to go, 4.5 more weeks to go before I'm in that clear without this scan. And that's a very lonely time. And if we were to miscarry, before now, after now, the people that I would lean on for support are the people I would want to share in the kind of joy of it. So we have told some of our best friends, and people that I've had to tell anyway because I've been spending time with them. And if I've had my face in a packet of mini cheddars or ginger biscuits, they're probably gonna put 2 and 2 together. Do you know what I mean? On the 22nd of October, I've written nausea times 10 million, which I feel is not an exaggeration, actually. 23rd of October, sometimes I worry that I'm no longer pregnant without a sign, and then I have an afternoon like today where I could sleep standing up by 4 p.m. and can't stomach chicken. The fatigue, I knew it was coming, but it is unreal. And it's really, really annoying. Last night I got so pissed off because I fell asleep at 7:45 in the evening and woke up on the sofa, and Andy was like, hey, are you okay? And being really nice to me, but I was like, for fuck's sake, like, I just want to be able to sit up and watch something with you. Like, I'm frustrated at how tired I am because I just want to have my evenings. This hits me later in the afternoon, so my training isn't particularly affected, which is great, but it is annoying when it gets to like 7 p.m. and I'm half asleep on the sofa. 24th of October, I have noted that I had hip pain. I had hip pain whilst I was driving to Norwich, and I was like, this is interesting. Like, I would expect this later on, but not now. I did make Andy go on ChatGPT on the way to Norwich and just ask, is that normal? And it is. It's just ligaments and tendons, I think it said, becoming more lubricated and starting to stretch, and everything in my pelvic region starting to move around. I'm not surprised that I can feel all of these things. Yesterday at the scan, the lady said, you know, do you normally feel ovulation pains and stuff? And I was like, yeah, I do. So it's no surprise that I felt that implantation cramping, and she was like, you seem extremely aware. I was like, yeah. 25th of October, I could not sleep through Billy, our best friend's baby, crying in the night. We live next to a main road. We very often have the window open at night. I am not disturbed by noise whatsoever. Like, I actually quite like it, and if a room is too quiet, sometimes I'll struggle to get to sleep, but I could not sleep through Billy. Billy cried 3 times in the night and I woke up every single time. I would not normally have had a issue with, but it just goes to show that my body is starting to change and adapt to recognising noises like that in the night, I think. 26th of October, very high heart rate even at rest. It can be up to 110 beats per minute. This is something that I have had from the get-go. My heart rate has been really, really high and I have had to just sit down sometimes. And it's made cardio difficult at times as well, but I am getting to, like, my cardio has still been completed, but it has been difficult at times. On the 27th of October, 2 p.m. vom, 9 p.m. vom, poop my pants. It's a beautiful time. 28th of October, I've put poop my pants. I'm prescribed anti-sickness. I thought, absolutely fuck this. I'm not spending days on end glued to the sofa, unable to eat anything, living off mini cheddars, losing weight. Like, it's not sustainable, it's not healthy. So I did go and get myself a prescription of, I think it's called cyclazine hydrochloride. It has been a game changer. I've also been wearing these. Cue my birthday, so the 30th of October, irrational rage. Yep, which brings us to yesterday, where my 7 weeks and 3 days suspicions of where I was at was confirmed at the scan. I was absolutely bang on with my dates of when we conceived, how far along I am. Very angry at falling asleep early again. It is ridiculous. But that kind of brings us up to date as to how I've been feeling and when. It's been interesting. It's been difficult to hide it. It's been difficult not to talk about it, because I am just an open book and I do just word farm and overshare, and that's who I am. A lot of you have told me that that's why you like this vlog and you like this channel. But yeah, it's been difficult to not say too much. You know that's not my style, but I still want this channel to be largely fitness and lifestyle based. There will be some elements of being a parent in there now, when the time comes, if the time comes, hopefully. And just navigating it all. I anticipate a lot of change. I anticipate some days not being able to do everything. There's been a couple of days like that already. There's been a couple of days where I've not been able to hit steps because I've just been horizontal. There have been days where I've not been able to eat my food because I've just felt like shit. There have been days where I've gone over and above and eaten more than what my food is because I'm a human being, not a robot. And if there's something I've wanted, I've just had it. And I'll take the consequences. However, we're adapting and I'm doing good so far. I am feeling a little bit anxious about going back to work next week with all of this new stuff going on. Gut issues haven't subsided. However, I haven't had such bad flare-ups. So it will be very interesting to see how my testing comes back and how we kind of navigate this going forward and how I'm treated going forward. But so far, it's not been too bad. And all is healthy in there and looking good, which is all we really wanted from yesterday. I've got my booking in appointment on Thursday with the midwife. And I think that appointment is very much just quite boring, if I'm honest. Go through your like medical history, like your parents' medical history, blood tests, potentially like likelihoods of getting things like gestational diabetes and things like that. But I should have my 12-week scan booked in after that appointment, so it'll be interesting to know when that falls, which I think will be the first week of December. Roll on that week, and then I'll feel a lot better about everything. I'm just making my beef meal, which I actually fancy today, so win. About to have my supplements, and it made me think I actually haven't talked about supplements, because I found out that I was pregnant whilst I was away and I wasn't sure exactly what I could have, and without the bottles, if I'm honest, to look at them in the way that I saw them, I couldn't have told you exactly which is which. This is what I'm working with when I'm away. I just stopped taking them because I was frightened that I was going to take something that would be in some way damaging, which is highly unlikely, but I can't remember exactly out of my previous supplements what I've taken out, but I can tell you that I've added in Pregnacare, which is an all-round folic acid, blah 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 supplement, everything that you need for pregnancy and early fetal development, and the omega-3 that comes with that into my supplements, and I have added calcium and vitamin D3. Pretty sure my probiotic is still in there, magnesium is still in there, glucosamine, L-glutamine. I can tell you what isn't in there because I need to get it checked out by my midwife. My thyroid support isn't in there, and glutathione, which I ordered and arrived whilst I was away to help with my gut, that is not in there at the moment, but hopefully will be. So I'm going to take some of the supplements that I would like to take to my midwife appointment and just see whether I can get them signed off. In terms of like avoiding foods, I wasn't massively impacted like most women by the like things that you can and can't eat, because I eat very clean, like not bougie stuff day in day out, so I wasn't going to get hit by the brie and the camembert or the tuna, because I like to make my meal plan very affordable, so tuna is just not in it. Because I was on holiday when I found out, I was eating some of these things, so I did switch up how I was having my eggs. I switched up how I was having my steak, because I was eating a lot of steak and I usually eat that rare, not anymore. I think I was just mindful of the fish that I was consuming. Did continue having salmon if it was available, and I have actually fancied salmon, but I've just been very careful about what I was having whilst on holiday. But like I said, because of the way that I eat, I'm just not caught out by some of those things. However, can you believe I haven't had a monster since September and it's November? I do miss that. No pre-workout, no monster. It has been interesting, but might be helping with my gut as well. I don't know how much like artificial sweeteners and things that I've been having, and you know, extra caffeine, I don't know how much that might have been impacting my gut as well. So maybe this will all be, I mean, it's all going to be super positive anyway, doing these for all the right reasons, but yeah, you never know. But other than that, there are very few changes that I've had to make because of the way that I live in general.
Hello, it is Tuesday and it is about 3 p.m. I've obviously trained this morning. It wasn't great, it wasn't terrible. I'm in this very weird spot at the minute with my training where I don't want to go completely full send until I've had my training signed off by the midwife, and that sometimes it just gets to a point where I could fail or push it harder with higher weights or something. I'm just frightened to do it, which sounds really silly. I suppose it doesn't sound that silly, but that's where I'm at, and I'm hoping that after my appointment on Thursday, I feel a bit better about that. Legs is a funny one at the minute, particularly quads, because it's been making me feel sick for ages, and I'm obviously suffering with that a bit at the moment, so it's hard to get the balance right, but I'm happy with what I did. At the minute, if I just get in there and move some shit around, I'm quite happy with that. Stupidly, today, I also told myself, whilst I was on the Stairmaster, that we're probably going to need to move house. Fine. I looked on Rightmove, I saved a few properties. I sent off a couple of emails and just said we're interested in viewing this property. My phone hasn't stopped. It is people ringing me, trying to arrange stuff. I know I asked for it. Oh my God, if you're an estate agent, I get it. You've got to strike while the iron's hot and that, but fuck me, it's intense and it's so overstimulating and overwhelming. And I've just had to ask someone, can you just email me? Can you just email me? Because I cannot pick my phone up again. I can't do it. From deciding we probably ought to move this morning to having 10, 12 phone calls today, get in the bin, I think I might just stay where I am. Anyway, Maggie and I are about to throw a ball around and lose our tiny minds for half an hour and get the rest of our steps in. She's gassed. I'm back home now, and the coach, that tried to poach me is now getting called out on Instagram, which is providing me with my evening's entertainment. And speaking about being full of shit, I've been so constipated today. And it's very difficult to know now, and can openly talk about it, whether this is just pregnancy constipation and everything slowing down, or whether it is just gut stuff, which is quite frustrating. But these are the cards that I've dealt myself, and it is what it is. However, I haven't had as much pain as I have done previously. I don't know how much of that is because I've been off work and far less stressed. It's going to be interesting going back and seeing how my gut issues present themselves. The annoying thing is as well, is now that I'm pregnant, there are few things that I can use that I was relying on for pooping, like stimulating that. Not as much caffeine at all. Glycerin suppositories say you should get them signed off. I'm going to speak to my midwife about that because I could really do with those. Lactulose is pregnancy safe. Isn't great for people that are lactose intolerant, and is something that I would only use if I was absolutely desperate. And I can only describe my poops since last Thursday, and I can tell you the point. it's at the point at which I had my birthday Chinese. My poops have just not been enough of a poop for how much I've eaten. It's like I'm pooping half, which is a strange concept, but one that weirdly Amy now completely understands because I've told her in such detail, which I will on Thursday. I should have had a check-in on Monday, and I can't remember whether I touched on this. I actually forgot. I did actually forget to do it. Midweek check-ins since I've come back from holiday and since everything's been going on have been a bit all up in the air. I genuinely forgot to do it. However, I have spoken to Amy, and I just think too much time spent scrutinising, look at how I'm looking, weighing or feeling at this point might not be great. So actually only doing that once a week is probably the best for up here, because my body is starting to change. It's been changing from the very beginning, so you're right. God, sorry to disturb you. Good morning, it's Wednesday. I am having an off day. My digestion's poor. I feel really, really sick. I feel bloated. I feel watery. I feel like I just need a great big poo. Really struggling with food today. The only way that I got my meal one down me this morning, my oats, is to mix it in with a BABYBUILDING protein shake, which is more calories than I needed and it needed to be. But for me, it's just the way it is sometimes at the moment. I'm really trying hard to stick to my food, but there will be days where I cannot stomach it, or I have to make adaptations, and it's not brilliant. I'm just taking it day by day, to be honest. I did order some SZN vegan protein this morning because I cannot stand much longer of using that JP. I can't do it. The thought of it makes me want to hurl, which is really unhelpful at the moment. I'm just finally bringing myself to do some washing up. You know the day is going to be a write-off when you need to have a nap after doing some cardio. I finished my cardio off this morning for the week, most of it on the incline walk, because my heart rate is just ridiculous today, and I have felt very sick all day. I took my dad food shopping. I thought I was going to hurl the whole way around. And I was seeing people and giving them hugs. I haven't seen them in a while because I used to work at the same place my dad also used to work, and some of their washing powders just make me gag. I'm so sensitive to smell at the minute, but I did it. I did the food shop, and now I'm going to do some washing up. Today, food-wise, has been an absolute write-off as well. I've had my meal one as normal, kind of, with the BABYBUILDING shake. I then felt like I couldn't eat anything. I've had a sandwich, a chicken and stuffing and bacon sandwich from Tesco, a Scotch egg, and some soup with a bagel with butter. That's all I've managed today. I'm going to try some yoghurt in a bit. This yoghurt has changed my life. This yoghurt is 5% fat, however, it is just Greek yoghurt with no lactose in it. And this cheese has also changed my life. It is cheese. But yeah, I feel incredibly sick today and still so constipated. It's a beautiful time. I don't even care what I look like in the morning. That's where we've got to. Good morning, it is Thursday. Today is another fucking survival day, my dudes, honestly. I can't remember. Oh, I had a bit of coffee on it. I can't remember whether I took my anti-sickness tablet this morning, so I daren't take another one. I don't think I did, but I honestly, I'm not sure, and therefore I'm now shitting it a little bit and don't want to take another. But I am so nauseous today. These are definitely stopping me from throwing up, but the nausea is just another level. So this morning I had my meal one by using the barbell shake. There's no way I could have got that down any other way. I have had a sausage, bacon and egg sandwich because I cannot stomach the thought of chicken right now. Egg seems to be fine though, which you'd think would be apparently that's okay. It's just going to be a survival day. I've checked in this morning. I'm starting to not care less about how I'm looking, because that's definitely not true. I'm very conscious that I'm carrying more fat than I would have liked to at this point. However, I'm going to be fucking kind to myself at this point, that there are some days where I feel like I can be fully on plan and everything's good, and there are days where it's just a fucking miracle if I've eaten something. So I think this first trimester is very much going to be like that. I have, oh God, I've started something this week that I wish I hadn't, but I know that I have to, because time will just fly by. I've got someone coming over to value the house at 3. I've got my first midwife appointment in about half an hour. I'm going to start walking to it in a minute, because stupid me was like, I'll get my steps in. Actually just feel like I could shit my pants at any point or be sick. It's mad how, like, a small bit of activity, like just going for a walk at the minute some days is just feels like it's too much. But I guess that's just how it is. And like I said, I'm just gonna roll with it in this first 12 weeks and just So I've got my first midwife appointment in about half an hour. Gonna walk over there in a minute. Then I've got someone coming to value the house. I'm looking at 3 houses tomorrow. I hate myself. I hate how intense it is. I hate myself for looking at so many and starting the ball rolling with so many at one point, at once, but also know how long it can take to get into a house. So kind of need to be this intense. I mean, we bought our house in the pandemic. We put an offer in the November 2019. Everything started going through, and we probably would have been in it by February. But because of the pandemic in 2020, we didn't get in until May, because people were just fucking about with paperwork. So I'm hoping this will be a lot smoother, but we know how it can go. I also picked up one of these, my one coffee of the day. Again, not bothered today particularly on calories and things like that. It's just going to be if I feel like I can stomach it, drink it, eat it. These are lactose free, I have found. I'm still waiting on feedback from Amy. I've been extremely honest about how things are. I'll see what she says, but I think she's just gonna have a bit of sympathy for me and just be like, roll with it, because what else is there that I can do right now, honestly? The fact that I'm still training, the fact that I'm still trying to do everything as I normally would, is more than I think could be asked of me at this point. So let's just see. It's so overpriced, but things I absolutely needed today. Oh, was a summer salad. Oh God, I just cannot get enough salad. Which is not ideal for someone that is still trying to grow as much muscle as possible, I'll be honest. But today is just a survive day, like I've said, and just eat what I can actually stomach and what I want to eat. And it is a Subway salad. I fucking love them. I absolutely love them. I've tracked that as loosely as I can, and I'll tell you for why. It's because as a result of my check-in feedback, Amy has given me my macros for a training day, for a rest day. Gone and had a Subway salad. I've tracked the ham, the chicken, the 2 eggs. I have tracked as closely and actually overestimated, I think, the light mayo and the sweet onion sauce. So I'm actually, for what I've eaten today, because I've put it all in MyFitnessPal, I'm 3 grams off my protein goal, and I've got plenty of calories to play with for the rest of the day. So I do feel so much better for having that. I really didn't want to get into macros. I wanted to try and stick to my plan as much as possible. But actually, she's bang on with what she said in my check-in feedback, which was, let's just get this out there so that on days where I cannot bring myself to eat my food, I can still feel like I'm being consistent and that I'm not jeopardizing my goals, and not use this as an excuse to just eat, because there have been days where I could have done that. And I feel better knowing where I'm at. That was pretty much my feedback from Amy. It was just, right, let's get a handle on your calories and your macros, so that, because it's making me feel like a shitty bodybuilder as well, because it's still a huge part of my life that I want to keep up and maintain throughout this period, and not being able to force my food plan down me some days is making me feel like a piece of shit. But we've found a way around that now, which really I should have done at the very start. However, I didn't, because I was determined to stick to it. But some days I just want to throw up. So I've just had my first midwife appointment, so my booking appointment, which is the appointment that you get through once you kind of self-refer, fill in some details about some like immediate information like medical history, and then your appointment comes through. So I think I had to wait for that. When did I self-refer? The Monday after we got back from holiday. What's that, 15th? Don't know, 15th of October, I'm not sure. But it came through relatively quickly. And that was about an hour-long appointment, just talking through all of my history, taking some blood, taking a urine sample, talking through where, if I knew, my thyroid is, liver and kidney function, that kind of thing. Talked through some family history, family medical history. And I'm really pleased that, bless him, I told Andy to stay home for that one, because he would have been like, I don't need to be here. And he didn't. So if you're going through this process as well, your partner doesn't necessarily need to be at that booking appointment, because it is just talking about you, how you feel, what's going on. I talked through my gut stuff and how I was initially feeling. She has noted me down as going through the process with the gastroenterology team. It does flag up on my file that I'm having treatments for other things, which means that the midwifery team will know that and they'll communicate with each other, which made me actually feel like I am probably going to get better care in this next 9 months than I've had in a long time, just for how on it she was, and just, I don't know, how she was talking about it all made me really feel listened to and supported. Was a bit of a overwhelming appointment in terms of the information that she was giving me. However, I've also got like an appointment timeline, so I'm going to have a look at this death by QR code and scan some of these, and have a look at the antenatal classes, vaccinations, and that kind of thing, and the appointment timeline ahead of time. But I should get my 12-week scan date through following this appointment, and I will be seeing my midwife again in January when I am 16 weeks. Wild.
Something that I also got today at my midwife appointment was my medical exemption certificate for prescriptions. Now, hold on to your little forms that you get for your prescriptions if you are going through this same journey, because I have paid for 2 rounds, I think, of this anti-sickness medicine, which, by the way, I had to fight for having on a repeat prescription. I don't know why my GP is just doing the least, but my morning sickness just ain't gonna go away overnight. More than likely, I need that as a repeat prescription. Anyway, I've paid for 2 of those. I've got my maternity certificate, which doesn't run out until the 6th of October 2027, I think. Do hold on to those, because in that case you can get them refunded, but I didn't know that, so I've lost out, but you don't have to. Good morning, it's Friday. Today is a day where if I'm not eating, I feel very sick. The nausea that I'm feeling is really preventing me from sticking to my plan, because my meals are calorie dense and they're not as frequent. So this morning I've had 4 rice cakes, 400 grams of mango, my pre-workout meal, my post-workout meal, and I don't think it's even 12 o'clock. It's hard on days like this. I'm so grateful that I've got that kind of protein goal and my calories through now, so that I can manage that accordingly and know that I'm not slipping anywhere. I trained pull and hams and glutes this morning, which was actually not bad. I've done 10 minutes cardio, didn't stand it. I started to feel really nauseous and I just left. I've got a house viewing at 12:30. In fact, I've got 2 house viewings at 12:30 on the same road. I don't think we'll end up going for either of them, because they're at the higher end. They're at the higher end of our price range, and unless there's room for a bit of negotiation, then probably not. But it's good to get a good idea of what we can get around here. I've got check-ins coming in. I've got some exceptionally hard-working girls and guys on my team at the minute. I just love a Friday for that. I love it. I'm really, really struggling to just feel myself and feel good today, as per yesterday. I have to take my supplements. The thought of swallowing them makes me feel like I'm gonna gag. So I'm gonna try and do that over the next 10 minutes. That's how bad it is. Okay, today didn't go to plan. I didn't go and view 2 houses. I did go and sit in A&E and the maternity unit for 5 hours, 6 hours, because I started bleeding. I think everything's okay. My cervix is closed. Yeah, that's pretty much all I know, and that is the kind of side of it that I'm interested in, I guess. There was no active bleeding when they checked me. They're going to refer me for a scan over the next 24 to 48 hours. And we'll find out more then. But until then, I'm just going to run with the cervix closed, no active bleeding, everything should be okay thing. Because when we saw that baby on Sunday, it was in a very strong little house with no bleeding and a heartbeat. So nothing has changed. So hopefully nothing has changed. Good morning. And today is Saturday and we are in Peterborough, weirdly. Peterborough today because Andy is doing a flight simulator, which my mum, dad and stepdad got him for his birthday back in March, but he wanted to do it towards the end of the year to have something to look forward to. Fair enough. I'm feeling okay today. I haven't had any bleeding, so fingers crossed that remains the same. I've just literally sought out a Subway so that I can get myself a salad because
every fucking day I'm just waking up feeling more and more sick. I had my meal 1 as normal today, but I am just macro tracking for the rest of the day. But I've just doubled up and got myself a salad. I also had to go in because I forgot poo bags, so I've just gone and got some food and freezer bags, and we're gonna go for a walk, aren't we? Not that she looks like she's up for that, but we're gonna go for a walk whilst Andy does this simulator, and then I'll be getting back to clients for the rest of the afternoon, because obviously I spent all day yesterday at the hospital, and by the time I got back I was not in the mindset, I'll be honest. But they have been fabulous and have been very supportive and just letting me get on with that. So yeah, long may this no bleeding continue. I haven't heard from the hospital yet, but supposedly should at some point in the next 48 hours to have a scan, so we'll keep an eye on that as well. All being well, should be just fine. And it should just be, hopefully, a bit of 8-week bleeding as the placenta starts to take over. I've done a bit of delving into it overnight, as I fucking do. And apparently this is common for 30% of women to get this light bleeding, and the fact that it is brown and it is light and watery is really reassuring, apparently, on top of the fact that my cervix is closed, that it is old blood just leaving as things start to move and expand in there. So all being well, that is what I'm experiencing, but you just never know. It is Sunday. It's actually quite late in the day. It is 7 o'clock on the dot, and today has been about distraction. I did some cardio, and Andy and I spent the day at Meadowhall walking, distracting ourselves because we still haven't had this fucking scan. I've called the antenatal clinic. Apparently they don't do anything over the weekend. Good to know. Yeah, it's just been a weekend of starting to worry, then stopping, telling ourselves not to worry, trying to find things to distract ourselves. It's been another sicky day. I think over the next several months there is going to be a lot of stopping and starting and just doing what I can. And I think I underestimated the food side of things. I really thought I'd be able to stick to my food, stick to my plan. How naive of me. It's really not that easy when you feel so sick all the time, and the only thing that seems to quench the nausea is to continue eating. I'm sure this will get easier as time goes on. When does the glowing phase start? I don't know. It ain't yet. It ain't now. I hope this next week brings a little bit more positivity, and at the very least answers, good or bad. And that's all I've got.